I have my daughter's Nintendo Switch here, and they've been complaining to me that their characters are moving without them even touching the Joy-Con. So it sounds like we have a little bit of a drift going on here, so we're going to take a look and see if we can solve that for them today. So the first thing I'm going to want to do is just go into the settings and just check the calibration of the Joy-Cons. And to do that, so we'll go into settings. We are going to go scroll down to controllers and sensors. And then again, scroll down to calibrate joysticks. We're going to pick the Joy-Con that's questionable and force it to the right. And we can see right away that we have some drift going on here. It's not returning to the center once I remove my finger from the Joy-Con. So that does seem to indicate that we have a problem with the Joy-Con, and it's popping up again, up and down again here. So we're going to take a look and see if we can fix that for them today. All right, so the way these Joy-Cons work is basically just a graphite sensor just underneath the controller stick here. And when you move the Joy-Con, it will move a little needle that indicates the direction of motion on the graphite sensor. So a common problem for these is that there's a metal plate that holds the graphite sensor up to the needle. And a common problem is that there's separation between the graphite sensor and that metal plate. And we can determine if that's going to be the case by just pushing down next to the Joy-Con. And if it moves back to the center, then we know that there is indeed a problem with the contact. So right away, I think I have an idea on how to resolve this, and basically just increasing the pressure between the metal plate and the graphite sensor will likely fix this issue. Okay, so we're just going to remove the Joy-Con. So there's 4 screws that we're going to have to remove to get access to the metal plate, and you're going to need a Y00 bit to remove those 4 screws. Next, I'm going to gently pry the Joy-Con apart from this side here, and be careful with the ribbon cables and just open it up. All right, so the battery wires I think are very brittle, so I'm just going to try and remove the battery just with a pick and just set it over to the side like that. All right, now that the battery is moved aside, what I'm going to do is remove the 3 Phillips screws here that's holding this plastic bracket in place. So there's 1 right there and 2 at the other end. 1, 2 there. When the 3 Phillips screws are removed, you can gently lift this plastic piece here up and over. So this is the metal plate on the back of the Joy-Con. So the next thing we're going to do is just take a business card or a piece of 1mm cardstock and just place it over top of this metal plate here. Alright, so here's my white piece of cardstock that I'm just going to place over top of this metal plate and then reassemble the Joy-Con. Alright, so the plastic battery holder is back on top. You can see my white cardstock underneath. So I'm just going to replace the 3 Phillips screws. You'll also notice that the coaxial cable for the antenna came loose here, so I'm just going to reconnect that with a spudger. Next, we can replace our battery back in the slot. Now we can fold back over the back cover and snap it back into place. And last but not least, we can replace our 4 Y screws. All right, now for a test. Plug that back in. All right. So that is looking much better. So I think that resolved our right Joy-Con drift issue. So now let's test the left Joy-Con. Alright, so now we're going to test our left Joy-Con. Okay, so it looks like we also have a little bit of drift going on with the left Joy-Con. So let's repeat the same procedure for the left one. Alright, so we are going to remove the same 4 screws on the back with the Y00 bit. Okay, then we can pry this open, just like the other one. Okay, again, I'm just going to pry the battery out. Okay, so this one's a little bit different on the left side, so we're just going to remove these 2 screws to remove this plastic cover here. And these are Phillips. Okay, so once these 2 screws are removed, we can remove the one in the bottom corner here. And now we should be able to lift this up and over, just like we did on the other side. Okay, so I cut another piece of cardstock we're going to place over the metal plate. And now we're ready to reassemble. Just going to get this into place and screw back the 3 Phillips screws there. Now we can replace our battery. And finally, the back cover. Okay, so we are ready to test our left Joy-Con. Okay, not noticing any drift issues on this one now as well. So it looks like that fix was able to resolve the drift issues with both the left and right Joy-Con. So basically, as I mentioned before, there's just a graphite sensor that's used to control the movement on these Joy-Cons, and that graphite sensor just over time just loses contact because that metal plate just drops over time. So the fix is just to simply add a piece of cardstock just to increase the pressure between the pin and the graphite sensor, and that should resolve any issues with drifting Joy-Cons for the Nintendo Switch. Hope this video helps somebody.